I am cool, calm, confident, comfortable, harmonious, happy, healthy, wealthy, relaxed, safe, sound, solid, strong, secure. Energetic, athletic, charismatic, magnetic, enthusiastic, authentic, with authority, certainty, consideration, credibility, empathy, inspiration, integrity, intimacy, luster, presence, resolution, self-assurance, overstanding, vigor, vivacity, guts, boldness, and tenacity, persistence, resilience, grit, backbone, gallantry, spirit, mettle, and audacity, fearlessness, heart, nerve, daring. I'm decisive, diligent, dogged, determined, undaunted, self-disciplined, integrated thinking, forward essence moving with disciplined thought control. I'm increasing, improving, reducing, saving, gaining, centering, expanding, balancing, preparing, expressing, extending, unlocking, receiving, flowing, receiving, relating, realizing, acting, transforming, connecting, manifesting, living, loving, learning, and growing. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, trust yourself when all men doubt you, yet make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired of waiting, hated yet not give way to hating. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, think without making thoughts your aim. If you can meet with both triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. If you can bear to hear the truth you spoke and twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, and watch as all you've given your life to broken, stoop and build them back up with worn out tools. If you can meet with both triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, or bear to hear the truth you spoke and twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch as all you've given your life to broken, stoop and build them back up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one pitch to toss, and if you lose, start again from the beginning, without breathing a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinews to serve their turn long after they're gone, when all that's left in them is the will that tells them to carry on. If you can talk with crowds and not lose your virtue, walk with kings nor lose that common touch. If all men count with you but none too much, if you can take the unforgiving minute and turn it into 60 seconds of distance run, years of the earth and everything that's in it. What's more, you'll be a man, my son. I'm here tonight to talk about spiritual aspects of my being. This is something that I committed to memory after seeing how powerful the effect it had on me in helping me through. I simply get to the point. Part of the process of spiritual integration of our higher selves or expansion of our consciousness involves reprogramming the way we think. Our thoughts create our reality and the life experiences that we have inside and outside of us. The following attitudes and responsibilities, if embodied and lived, will help us to change our thought patterns, thoughts that we simply take for granted because they're part of the program that we currently carry. By changing our thought patterns, we're actually changing the personal shields, the program of the personal shields. I'll begin with the 12 attitudes. 1, love. Knowing the truth of the all-oneness. 2, grace. Allowing the all-oneness to be what it is, regardless whether it suits you, suits us. Living in perpetual forgiveness. Gratitude, appreciating the all-oneness, knowing your aliveness. Reverent respect, acknowledging and giving to the all-oneness. Responsibility, co-creating with, serving, and being able to respond to the all-oneness. Trust, knowing the power and the love of the all-oneness. Accountability, being in a state of truth with the all-oneness. Impeccability, upholding and protecting the all oneness. Mindfulness, loving and nurturing and being attentive to the all oneness. Fearlessness, knowing the infinite and eternal nature and unconditional love of the all oneness. Engaged detachment, permitting the all oneness to be without critique, condemnation or value judgment, knowing the isness of and validating the all oneness. Joy, choosing to be the embodiment of the all oneness. Those are the 12 attitudes. The 12 responsibilities are as follows. Self-actualization. Freedom from the victim-victimizer blame game, with a willingness to be accountable for all perceivable manifestations as direct projections for intended learning from the personal consciousness DNA template. Sovereignty. Freedom from the need for sovereignty. Freedom from the need for approval from or the need to rebel against any external authority. Through knowing and understanding that you are a manifestation of the God source, therefore have the ability to create your own personal freedom without violating the spiritual rights of others or allowing others to violate your own spiritual rights of being. Self-containment means taking responsibility for the direction of our personal energies. There's no person, thing, or event that can upset us, thus justify or validate any personal spiritual misuse of reaction, ideas, intention, and action. We upset ourselves by allowing our emotional bodies to follow the misperceptions of our mental body, which tells us that our power lies outside ourselves. At any moment we can choose what words, ideas, and associations we use as the filters through which we interpret an event. Upset, mad, hurt, or any other category of labeling are all mental body filters which direct our emotional and physical body functions. The self-contained individual recognizes at all times that the freedom of interpretation exists. Thus, a negative experience and its associated disharmonic energies of upset feelings can only exist as a personal interpretation of events. Accepting any less responsibilities for the direction of our personal energies will place us directly into the victim-victimizer blame game, which can only be played out by those people who place their personal responsibilities for the direction, for the manifestation onto externalized sources. No one can upset us, regardless of what they say or do. We're fully entitled to our own interpretation. No one and nothing has the power to upset us unless we give this power away. Self-containment emerges when we recognize that the direction of a personal energies, physical, mental, emotional ideas, beliefs, interpretations, conscious and subconscious, is an attainable level of personal mastery and exists as an abiding responsibility that comes with a gift of free will choice. The more responsible we become, is the more freedom and personal empowerment we will know. 4, self-discipline. Means taking responsibility for the direction of our personal energies towards rather than in opposition to the outcome we desire to experience. Our physical, mental and emotional bodies have long been directed by the forces of subconscious hidden shadows, creating within us urges, reactions, thoughts, impulses and perceptions that often run counter to the life creations that we desire to manifest. Part of spiritual mastery entails teaching ourselves to be consciously diligent when observing our own minds, emotions and physical body talk, and using conscious redirection to redirect the subconscious hidden shadows that often run on autopilot. If we can learn to catch ourselves when those negative thought patterns and emotions run through us, we can use that moment of recognition to reclaim this errant energy. And using the power of affirmative attitude, remedial word choice and direct energy redirection to redirect the opposing forces, the energies of the self into fulfillment of the desired, constructive, spiritually mature co-creation. It takes discipline to be the lion tamer of the often roaring subconscious mind, but we do have the intrinsic power to help the subconscious shadow evolve through loving, yet firm, but firm redirection into a cuddly lap cat that will gladly follow us, join us in our constructive co-creation. Self-discipline comes when we consistently remind ourselves to use spiritually correct thoughts, actions, and attitudes, even if we don't feel like it, when the shadow sneaks up from down under. These shadow parts of self surface. These parts of self come through the conscious mind for healing, and through this process, the conscious mind itself learns greater attributes of mastery. Number 5, self-love. It is our own responsibility to love and nurture ourselves through the gift of divine spirit that moves through us at each and every moment. Genuine love must come from within, and it can only be through genuine connection to the God source within and its inherent connection to all creation. If we seek love on the outside in order to fulfill a personal loneliness or lack within, we enter into relationships as energy vampires. We're seeking a substitute for our own God source by tapping into the God source embodied within other people and beings. This is not love, it is need, and implies a lack of something essential. This lack cannot be filled by external love. It can only be filled by recognizing the God within, thus recognizing that we live in the embodiment of absolute love. Once this is recognized, we'd have the greatest love of all, God love. And from this perspective of divine power, then go into the world seeking those to whom we can give love, rather than those from whom we can get love, knowing that anything we might need can be made manifest through the love and gift, the gift of the universal God source that we carry at all times. Self-love is a responsibility of spiritual maturity. 7, patience. The God source has its own schedule. We could either accept this intrinsic reality of manifestation and choose to work co-creatively with the God source within, and together, we in the universe will find the perfect divine right timing. And if that isn't right now, then there's a very good reason for this. Or we can continue, or we can allow the ego self to force its will upon the intrinsic nature of time. And if time does not cooperate, we can let that be okay and trust in divine right time and order. Or continue to frustrate ourselves with the attachment to the artificial time of clocks and choose to believe that we cannot have that which we desire just because it does not appear when we demand. We can indeed, often we can indeed have the things that we desire. If we were to learn to relax, we can work co-creatively with the consciousness of time and find that time will progressively better comply with our wishes if we were to ask nicely rather than demand, trusting the God source to do its part in our constructive co-creation. Patience is a virtue that reflects our comprehension of the nature of universal order. 8, conservation. Conservation is a form of respect and appreciation for the God source in all of its expressions. From conservation of our natural resources, to being attentive to the needs of our bodies, to using the energies of our words and actions with gentle conservation, whereby we freely use that which is required and not more. The God source is continually recycling its energies for the rebirth of new expression. All is given freely, but nothing is valueless or wasted. Conservation is having respect and appreciation for the God source, for the creative energies of that the God source has provided to us. And as we learn to use this energy in all of its forms with respect and mindfulness, we progressively fine-tune our ability to create what we want, and through this process, help others, beings, do the same. If everything that we conceive in this life, perceive in this hologram of life, were understood to be the manifestations of the God force, we might all have a bit more respect, appreciation, and conservation for the energies of the divine. towards the use and application of the energies of the divine. 9. Appreciation. Our present-day society continually teaches us to want more, need more, be more, do more. We constantly influence to perceive that which is lacking in order to motivate us to buy more, work more, pay more taxes, and be good little consumer sheep. Very rarely do we stop to think about the things we already possess, beginning with the gift of life, a mental free will choice. Through this disoriented perceptual filter, we can cultivate a mutation of consciousness in which we begin to believe that we're entitled to, that someone owes us, God, the universe, our parents, our spouse, our employers, our children, government, etc. Once we fall into the you owe me mind trap, we set ourselves up for continuous self-created frustration as we begin to place unrealistic and untrue expectations upon life, others and ourselves, and can get mighty upset, mad and hurt if the universe does not cooperate with the imagined pictures. No one owes us anything. If we feel we're owed, we're entertaining lack consciousness. A void within the self is being recognized. If we give to another in order to receive for ourselves, such as banks and often parents and lovers, and the other does not repay that which is expected, we may feel cheated, taking advantage of our owed. Perhaps such situations emerge in our lives to teach us that the giving should be done for the given alone, and not the expected return. If we give what it is we desire to another for the joy of giving, we'll not feel owed. If we live a life for the joy of living, we'll not feel that life has shortchanged us. It matters not what our neighbours possess, and in comparing ourselves to each other continually distracts us from seeing and utilising the blessings that are our own. In terms of universal physics, that which we give out comes back, that which we give expands, that which we resist persists, and that which we do not give the energy of our appreciation towards will eventually manifest itself right out of experience. When we approach the world through the filter of genuine appreciation, we become electrical transmitters, sending out energy into the world around us. When energy is sent out in this way, we become personally more magnetic, as the sending out of this energy creates magnetic vortices within the dyadic grid of our etheric anatomy. These magnetized dyadic points then draw in more universal energy at a higher frequency and quality than the expressed energy, in order to refill the energy void created by the giving. When we approach the world from the attitude of getting, this natural physics process becomes inverted. The more we try to pull energy from the outside world, the more our energy becomes stuck in the dyadic grid as miasms. Miasms progressively reduces the quality and lowers the frequency of the natural energy from which we can internally draw from universal supply, so that what we give out comes back to us amplified. This also works in reverse. However, give out goodness and more goodness will come back to us. Give out bad attitude, garbage, ignorance, and more of its kind will come, in turn flow our way. In turn flow our way. Learn to appreciate what we have. Let's learn to appreciate what we have. Love it. Find new perspectives so we can get to know the joy of it. Knowing that this mere act would let loose the powers for us to create more of the things we desire and less of the illusion of lack. The universe owes me mind trap is one of the greatest self-sabotage games in the world. Let's trade it in instead for consistent giving, and the world will expand to hold the reality of the things we desire. If we feel put upon by the world and resentful for having our desires unmet, we owe ourselves something, which is a greater understanding of the nature of creation and better use of our personal powers within the life creation game. Let's say thank you to the God source more often to help remind ourselves of the things that we do have to appreciate, and more of its kind will in turn be sent along our way. I believe it's 9 or 10. Kindness. Kindness, like respect, is a birthright, but one that is often overlooked and misunderstood. When we approach the world through genuine kind-heartedness, sending out love and respect to all creation in honor of the God source that lives in all things, we are again transmitting the energy of a higher vibration, frequency, that follows the laws of universal physics, to bring like kind back to us in the form of universal backflow. Kindness is a gift that we must first give to ourselves in order to have it to give to others. Kindness implies being conscientious and caring towards our own needs as well as the needs of others, and to express through action, attitude and intention that concern. Let's give to ourselves random acts of kindness, then pass this gift along to others who come our way. Try being kind to the grouch mean neighbor. You may help them rediscover their ability to smile. When we treat all things with kindness, we're demonstrating that we recognize and understand the intrinsic value of the manifestations of the God source. And quite often you find a God source lovingly returning the favor. 11. Cooperative diplomacy. Existence is and always has been a co-creative endeavor. We must be willing to allow others the fulfillment of their needs and desires if we hope to have our fulfillment be known. Creating win-win situations and creating with the intention of giving genuinely are natural ways of being. We might not always agree with the intended creation of others, and we're all entitled to our point of view. But diplomacy can be the bridge between the opposing forces through which effective decisions and actions can be reached to mutually support each perspective. We can learn to agree to disagree respectfully so that the spiritual art of cooperative diplomacy can progressively evolve to higher levels of expression. And I believe it's final sense, number 12. Learning to identify and appropriately apply both the common sense and uncommon sense of spiritual knowing will allow us the greatest expression, energy expression in every aspect of our lives. There you have it. What more can I say other than thank you for listening, and I appreciate to all of you guys the chance to express myself in this way. Thank you very much.